5 planets in Pisces at once. That hasn't happened in years, and it started today. Pisces season just started, and it brought 4 planets with it. Here's what that actually means for you. Before I get into all of it, I want to address something, because I know a lot of you just went through that Aquarius solar eclipse yesterday, and you might be feeling a little... I don't know how to describe it. Raw? Like you've been wrung out and you're not sure what's inside you anymore. That's actually really normal for the day after an eclipse. Your system is still processing. And so I want you to hear this with that in mind, because what's happening today is almost like the universe going, okay, that was intense. Here, now breathe, because on February 18th at 7:51 a.m. Eastern, the Sun leaves Aquarius and walks into Pisces. And I don't say this lightly, but the timing of this particular ingress is kind of extraordinary, because it's not just the Sun moving into Pisces, it's the Sun joining a lineup that's already there. Venus is in Pisces, Mercury is in Pisces, the North Node is in Pisces, the Moon today is in Pisces. So the moment the Sun crosses that threshold, you got this gathering. This whole cluster of personal planets, all in the same sign at once. And the thing about Pisces is, it's the last sign of the zodiac. It's the end of the whole cycle. So when you get this kind of concentration of planets here, it's not a beginning energy, it's a closing energy. It's completion, it's surrender, it's the universe essentially saying, stop pushing, let it come to you. And depending on where you are in your life right now, that either sounds like a relief or it sounds terrifying. Probably a little of both. Oh, and real quick, before I forget, if this kind of breakdown is useful to you, leave a like and subscribe. I do these every week. And drop Pisces season is here in the comments so I know you're tuned in. Okay, so let me actually explain what this stellium means, because it's more significant than most people are realizing. So, Pisces season. Let's talk about what this sign actually is, because I think it gets misrepresented a lot. People hear Pisces and they think, okay, dreamy, emotional, kind of floaty, maybe a bit scattered. And there's truth in all of that. But Pisces is also the sign of the mystic, the healer, the person who sees what's actually underneath the surface of things. It's ruled by Neptune, which is the planet of intuition, of dissolving boundaries, of dreams, of the part of you that knows things without being able to explain how you know them. Pisces is where logic stops working and something deeper takes over. And here's the thing that's wild about this moment. Neptune, Pisces' ruling planet, is right now in the very early degrees of Aries, which it just moved into last month. So Neptune is brand new somewhere else. It's like the landlord just moved out of the house and someone new is moving in. The house is still the house, but the vibe in it is shifting. So Pisces season 2026 has this particular quality of, yes, all the typical Pisces themes are here, but they feel more searching, more open, like there's a question the sign is sitting with that it hasn't figured out yet. Add to that, Saturn is in early Aries right now too. Saturn entered Aries on February 13th, just 5 days ago, after being in Pisces for almost 3 years. So for the last couple of years, Pisces had Saturn in it, which gave it this heaviness, this weight, this feeling like you couldn't escape responsibility even when you needed rest. That's been lifted. Saturn's gone. And now the Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon are all in Pisces at once, and it feels like the windows just got opened in a room that's been sealed for a long time. Like everything is a little lighter, a little more possible. The bigger picture here, and this is the thing I want you to actually sit with, is that we are smack in the middle of one of the most genuinely unusual stretches of astrology in decades. The eclipse was yesterday. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries is in 2 days. And now Pisces season has just started. All of this is happening in a cluster that spans maybe 72 hours, and they're all connected. Let me explain the Saturn-Neptune piece because it's important context. Saturn and Neptune meet in the same degree of the sky roughly every 36 years. The last time they did this, it was 1989, and they were in Capricorn. Before that, 1952, they were in Libra. Each conjunction has its own character based on the sign. This time, February 20th, they meet at 0 degrees Aries. 0 degrees Aries is not just a number. It's the Aries point. It's literally the beginning of the zodiac, the first degree of the first sign. It's the point astrologers associate with visibility, with things coming into public awareness, with the world paying attention. So you've got Saturn, the planet of reality, rules, structure, limits, what's actually achievable, and Neptune, the planet of dreams, dissolution, things that can't be pinned down, spirituality, idealism. These two meet at the very first degree of the entire zodiac, and that's the backdrop to Pisces season starting. That's what's humming in the background while the sun makes this soft, compassionate entry into the last sign. What this means for you practically is that this Pisces season, more than most, is about figuring out what's real, not in a cold, analytical way, in a felt sense. You're going to be asking yourself, what actually matters to me? What am I building toward that has real substance? Where have I been chasing something that looked good on the outside but felt hollow on the inside? And what am I genuinely willing to give my energy to? Those are Saturn questions. But Pisces asks them with empathy instead of judgment. You're not beating yourself up over the answers. You're just finally honest about them. And here's something I've been noticing all week. A lot of people have been feeling this transition before it hit. Like something was already softening before yesterday's eclipse, before the sun moved. There's been this quality in the air of, I'm done fighting this. I don't know what to name it, but I'm done fighting. And that's Pisces. That's the vibe of the last sign kicking in before the sun even officially arrived. If you felt that, if you've had a moment this week where something you were gripping just loosened and you weren't sure whether to feel relieved or a little scared, you were already tuning in. Alright, let's go through all 12 signs, because even though some of you are feeling this more intensely than others, every single sign has Pisces somewhere in their chart, which means every single sign has an area of life that's being asked to slow down and soften right now. Aries, this stellium is landing in your 12th house, which is the most Piscean house there is. It rules the subconscious, hidden things, rest, solitude, and the stuff you've been carrying beneath the surface without fully acknowledging it. This is actually a really powerful placement for you, even if it doesn't feel exciting. The 12th house is where you do your deepest healing, and with this many planets gathering there, old patterns are ready to release if you give them the space. The temptation for Aries is always to push forward, stay busy, keep moving. This month is asking you to do the opposite. Let yourself be still. What comes up in that stillness is exactly what you need to see before Saturn and Neptune kick off your big year in Aries. Taurus, the Pisces stellium is moving through your 11th house of friendships, community, hopes, and long-term goals. Over the next few weeks, you might find yourself reassessing who your people actually are. Not in a dramatic way, just a quiet recalibration of where you're investing your social energy and whether those connections are genuinely nourishing you. You might also feel your long-term dreams getting hazier before they get clearer, which sounds frustrating but is actually useful. Mercury retrograde in this house for you means some of those goals might need to be reimagined rather than just pursued harder. Let the vision soften and reform. What comes out the other side will be more yours. Gemini, all of this Pisces energy is hitting your 10th house of career, public reputation, and what you're known for. And with Mercury, your ruling planet, in Pisces and slowing toward retrograde, this is a really important time to be careful about how you're communicating professionally. Things you say or send right now can be misread, intentions can get lost. So slow down with work communications, double-check your tone, and don't assume people understood your meaning. On the positive side, Venus in your 10th house right now makes you genuinely appealing in professional contexts. People are receptive to you. Use that warmth. Just make sure the words back it up. Cancer, you're feeling this in a really beautiful way. Jupiter is in your sign, retrograde, doing deep inner work and reconnecting you to your core sense of abundance and purpose. The moon today actually trines Jupiter, which is warm and supportive. It's the kind of transit that gives you an emotional energy boost when you didn't know you needed one. The Pisces stellium is moving through your ninth house of beliefs, long-distance connections, higher learning, and meaning-making. This is a great month to study something that genuinely interests you, to travel if you can, or to just spend time with people who expand your worldview. Your intuition is particularly sharp this season. Trust the first instinct before you talk yourself out of it. That one is usually right. Leo, the Pisces gathering is in your 8th house, which deals with shared resources, deep transformation, intimacy, and the things that are hidden from plain view. This is not the lightest placement, I'll be honest with you. The 8th house asks you to look at what you've been avoiding, financial entanglements that need untangling, emotional depths in relationships that you haven't fully explored, old wounds around trust or vulnerability. The good news is Venus in this house softens all of that considerably. Conversations about difficult things can actually go well right now. People are more open, more compassionate. If there's something you've been putting off addressing with someone close to you, this is a surprisingly good window. Virgo, I need you to pay attention here because this stellium is landing directly in your 7th house of partnerships and relationships. Over the next few weeks, the people in your life are going to be asking for a different kind of presence from you. Not your typical problem-solving mode. Something more emotionally available, more willing to just sit with someone without trying to fix anything. That could be genuinely hard for Virgo, I know. But this is also one of the most powerful windows you'll have all year for relationships to deepen, for stuck conversations to finally move, for things left unsaid to finally get said. If there's a relationship you've been circling around, something you've wanted to resolve or begin or release, this is the window. Use it. Libra, the Pisces stellium, is in your 6th house of daily routines, health, work habits, and how you take care of yourself day to day. This is actually a really practical placement for all this watery, intuitive energy. What it's asking you to do is tune into your body more than usual. Your body has been trying to tell you something, probably for a while, and Pisces season in the 6th house is when that signal gets louder. Are you actually resting enough? Is the daily structure you built working for you, or are you just maintaining it out of habit? Small changes to your routine right now can have a surprisingly big impact. And with Mercury slowing down here, this is also a good time to review health-related habits before you commit to new ones. Scorpio, the Pisces stellium, is lighting up your 5th house of creativity, joy, romance, and the things that genuinely make you feel alive. This is honestly one of the more delightful placements for you this season, because Scorpio tends to live in the deep end, and the 5th house is an invitation to come up for air and actually play. If you've been feeling too serious, too heavy, too caught up in intensity recently, this is the cosmic permission slip to enjoy something without it needing to mean anything. Pick up the creative project, say yes to the fun thing. Let yourself be a little lighter than usual. And if romance is on your mind, Venus in Pisces in your 5th house right now is genuinely one of the better love transits you've had in a while. Pay attention to who shows up. Sagittarius, all of this is gathering in your 4th house of home, family, roots, and emotional foundations. Pisces season in the 4th house tends to bring up a lot of nostalgia. Old family dynamics resurfacing, memories you haven't thought about in years, a pull toward home in whatever that word means to you. This isn't random. The 4th house is where you process your emotional origins, and with this many planets there, something about your foundation is ready to shift. That might mean a literal change in your living situation. It might mean finally working through something old with a family member. Or it might just mean giving yourself permission to grieve something you never fully let yourself grieve. Whatever it is, Pisces season in your 4th house is asking you to go home first in the inner sense. Capricorn, The Pisces stellium is in your third house of communication, daily conversations, local connections, and how your mind works day to day. With Mercury slowing toward retrograde here for you, this is a month to be genuinely careful with your words. Not in a paranoid way, just thoughtful. Things you say casually can land heavier than intended right now. Emails and messages are worth rereading before you send. On the more positive side, this placement is great for writing, journaling, or any kind of creative communication. Your mind is more imaginative than usual this month, more willing to make intuitive leaps rather than staying strictly logical. If you've been wanting to write something, start something creative, or have a conversation you've been putting off, the third house stellium supports all of that. Aquarius, you just came out of your season yesterday and the solar eclipse that happened in your sign. So you're in a particular kind of transition right now, moving from being in the spotlight to stepping back. The Pisces stellium is in your second house of money, values, possessions, and what you consider genuinely yours. This is a really good month to get honest about your relationship with resources. Not just money, but time, energy, attention. Where are you spending those things in ways that don't actually reflect your values? Venus in your second house right now makes this less of a harsh audit and more of a gentle reorientation. You're not being asked to overhaul everything, just to notice what feels aligned and what doesn't, and start making small moves accordingly. Pisces, this one's obviously yours. You're entering your solar return season, which means the sun is now moving through your first house of identity and how you show up in the world. This is your season of clarity, not the loud assertive clarity of Aries, the quiet deep clarity of actually knowing yourself. With Venus also in your sign right now, there's a real warmth in your presence this season. People are drawn to you in ways you might not even notice. You might not feel like you're doing anything differently, but something about your vibe right now is genuinely magnetizing. And the North Node is in your sign too, which means you're not just living your season, you're aligned with the direction the collective is moving. The universe is pointing at Pisces right now and saying this is the way forward. Trust that. You don't have to explain it to anyone. Now here's what I think is the most underrated thing about this particular Pisces season. We're about to enter a Mercury retrograde in Pisces starting on February 26th. And I know Mercury retrograde has a bad reputation, especially in the internet astrology space. Everybody freaks out, don't sign contracts, don't make decisions, your exes will text you, whatever. And look, some of that is genuinely worth being aware of. But Mercury retrograde in Pisces is actually, when you work with it instead of against it, one of the most interesting transits for inner clarity. Here's why. Mercury in Pisces in general has a hard time being precise. Pisces doesn't do well with Mercury's need for logic and facts and clear categories. But during the retrograde, Mercury is going inward. It's going back over territory. And in Pisces, what that means is going back over feelings you suppressed, conversations you had that you didn't fully process, creative projects you set aside, things you were intuiting but not saying out loud. The retrograde actually suits the sign in this case. Instead of being a communication disaster, it becomes a period of emotional and intuitive review. The shadow period is already beginning, which means Mercury is already slowing down and starting to turn inward. You might notice over the next week that your mind is running backward more than forward, old memories popping up, old feelings resurfacing, dreams getting more vivid. That's not chaos, that's just Mercury in Pisces beginning its review cycle. Give yourself space for that. Journal, if you journal. Sit with the feelings that come up. You're not going backwards, you're integrating. And practically speaking, the thing to watch for right now is communication misunderstandings in conversations where you both feel like you said something, but the other person heard something completely different. Pisces energy is so watery that messages can lose their shape in transit. Be more literal than feels natural right now. Say what you actually mean instead of assuming people will feel what you're trying to convey. That one adjustment saves a lot of confusion over the next few weeks. There's also something worth spending time on about Venus in Pisces because it's going to carry through this whole season. Venus in Pisces is, in astrological terms, in her exaltation. That means Venus is operating at her absolute best here. Think of it like an athlete performing in their ideal conditions. Venus in Pisces isn't flashy or dramatic about love. It's gentle, compassionate, deeply intuitive, and it tends to see the best in people, sometimes to a fault. The Venus in Pisces vibe is, I love you for your soul, not for what you can do for me. Venus has been in Pisces since February 4th and she'll be here for a while. So the relational vibe for the entire Pisces season has this quality of softness, of really seeing people, of love that doesn't need to be loud to be real. If you're in a relationship, this is a beautiful window to reconnect on a more emotional level. Not about logistics or plans or what you're doing next, just about how you actually feel about each other. Go on the walk without your phones, cook a meal together, have the conversation that doesn't have a point except to just be close. If you're single, the Venus in Pisces vibe means the people who are drawn to you right now are drawn to your authenticity, not your highlights. The version of you that's a little tired, a little searching, a little honest about not having everything figured out. That's the version that's actually really attractive right now. Stop performing and see what shows up. And in either case, watch for one thing. Venus in Pisces, because it sees the best in people, can also idealize people who don't deserve it. The romantic fog is real this month. You can look at someone and project onto them qualities they don't actually have, because Pisces fills in the blanks with what you're hoping for, instead of what's actually there. The Saturn-Neptune conjunction energy we talked about earlier is the antidote to this. Ask yourself honestly, is this person real? Not in a cynical way, just, am I seeing them accurately? Have they actually shown me this quality or am I imagining it? That kind of grounded check-in is the Saturn part of this equation, and it keeps you from wasting time on a beautiful illusion. The last thing I want to say, and this is a bigger picture thought, is that Pisces season every year is the exhale before the inhale. Aries season, which starts on March 20th, is the beginning of the astrological new year. It's fire, it's action, it's go, 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 go. Pisces season is the quiet before all of that. It's the space between the end of one cycle and the beginning of the next. And this year, with Saturn and Neptune meeting in Aries just 2 days from now, that Aries energy already has this weight, this significance to it. So Pisces season this year feels almost like a preparation. Like the universe saying, you've got about a month to sort yourself out, to heal what needs healing, to let go of what needs releasing, to figure out what you actually want. And then Aries season is going to ask you to move, so use this time well. Not productively in the Capricorn sense, not crossing things off lists and grinding through goals. Well in the Pisces sense. Rest when your body says rest. Cry if you need to cry. Dream more than you've been letting yourself dream. Pay attention to what comes up in the quiet moments. Because Pisces season is when the deeper parts of you actually get to speak. And what they're telling you right now, if you listen, is the map for the year ahead. This is not a passive season. It's an integrative one. And integration is harder than action because it requires you to sit with yourself without fixing anything, just being with what's true. The Sun in Pisces, Venus in Pisces, Mercury in Pisces, North Node in Pisces. This whole gathering of planets in the last sign is asking you to trust that slowing down is not the same as falling behind. That surrender is not the same as giving up. That feeling deeply is not a weakness, it's a navigation system. So that's Pisces season 2026. The Sun moved in this morning and it's here through March 20th. 5 planets in Pisces at once, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in 2 days, and Mercury retrograde starting the 26th. The big themes for the next 4 weeks are compassion for yourself and others, trusting your gut over your logic, letting go of what you've been forcing, and using this quiet month to prepare for the big push that Aries season is going to bring. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, and Virgo are feeling this the most. But honestly, everyone has Pisces somewhere in their chart, which means everyone has an area of life that's asking for exactly this kind of softness right now. If this helped, leave a like and subscribe and drop Pisces season in the comments below. I love seeing who's tuned in to this energy. Alright, take care of yourself through these transitions. I'll see you in the next one.